Good evening, Warriors! Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. I feel I was going to give you a video here before I went in to teach tonight, so I wanted to kind of stop and do that. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are on your plan. Hope you guys are conquesting all things around you. And continue to do that, my friends. Continue to do that. Once again, a lot of great comments, ideas. I have to catch up with them the last week or so. But let me finish up the ones that we had 2 weeks ago. And HVD IV, thank you, my friend. Nathaniel Freeman, thank you. 310 Falcon, as always. Jon the Dawn, again. Giovanni, the Savior, thank you. Burning Phoenix, thank you. Says I look like I'm 30. That's wonderful. That's a great compliment, my friend. Thank you so much. And Frederick Gray, we'll talk about this in a separate one, but you can start at any age, my friend. Don't ever say that you can not start, Warrior. You can start at any age you want to and get back that youthful look and that energy, and it all comes back down to me, the energy we're talking about, the idea that you can actually retain that energy and not just give it away on things that make no sense. All right, so speaking of which, we had a one recently as well, and I kind of focus on that when I get to the shout-outs next week. But also want to go back to Christian Thomas, talked about muscle spasms, and it just reminded me of talking about physical types of exercising, getting in shape, those type of things, and the effect that semen retention has on your body. So let's talk about the physical nature of your body with semen retention, and let's kind of go from there, because I think Christian brings up a good point, but I'm going to expand it a little bit as well. All right, so at 1:57, we're going to go ahead and talk about our topic, and our topic is going to talk about your physical body and semen retention, okay, the effects of semen retention on your physical body. So when we talk about this energy level, we're talking about things that originate within your body, okay? Now, what ends up happening, in my opinion, this is my opinion, is that you end up showing the world how you look from the inside out. That means your attitudes, the way you look at life, the energy levels you have, the enthusiasm you have, all come from inside. And then that shows itself on the outside. And certainly if you don't have all your nutrients, all your strength, all your energy, that's going to affect you a great deal. I think one of our people who just talked, and it might have been the Rising King, but I'll go back and look at it, made a very astute comment, and I think this is very important, especially to our younger audience members and people who are kind of looking at historical types of things when we talk about athletes. Now, when we look at athletes, we're seeing a lot of problems with athletes right now, young athletes, and we also see a lot of athletes who just, they have a lot more muscle tears, a lot more, and yes, you could argue they're a lot more athletic, but you have to wonder what's happening with some of our athletes that just seem like that they're pulling muscles, they're not in great, shape, things like that. These things are happening. And ever since probably around 1995, 2000, I think the Rising King and others have been saying that maybe what's happening is that because these people are releasing, then all of a sudden, they're weaker. We just had a boxer, I can't remember his name, or someone who was a celebrity in boxing or something, just lost the match, and he said that his issue was that he had a wet dream, a nocturnal emission. So that kind of talks about what we're talking about, right? And so he wasn't strong enough because he had wobbly legs. Now it shows you, A, that there's a lot to what we're talking about, right? But B, it talks about the fact that people go to this because they realize that the importance, whether or not that actually had an effect or not, who knows? I don't know. I didn't watch the match, the boxing match. But I do know that people who don't have their energy level, their nutrients, have to be affected by things around them. And so their physical workouts are probably not as good. They're probably, their muscles, they get more spasms, they get more pulls of muscles. They probably have a lot less of the nutrients within them. And obviously, we're talking about things that can affect us like salt, potassium, all these type of things that have to have an effect on you if you're being drained. I think our body works in a specific way, and God is giving us specific types of nutrients that use. He doesn't want us pouring those guys out and losing all that so that we have nothing to actually use when we have to use it and protect ourselves and protect our families and things like that. And so it's very possible that a lot of that these viewers, Rising King, other people are right. It could be very possible that athletes are, even though they're more athletic now than they probably were 40, 50, 60 years ago, they're being drained more. And so they have other issues. Plus, they make poor decisions and all these type of things that we're seeing in the media almost every day. Something's happened to an athlete or something, whether it's the NFL or NBA or Major League Baseball or whatever it might be. And all of a sudden, you're seeing them making poor decisions. Now, why is that? Well, maybe it goes back to the whole idea of the loss of energy. Maybe their mind is clouded with women, or clouded with drugs, or clouded with this, or crowded with this. All of a sudden, now they're not thinking clearly, and now they're not able to make rational decisions, and they get themselves not only in trouble, but physically, their body starts to wear down. And this is why you see a lot of males who are running into problems with dysfunctional, systematic dysfunction and all kinds of things when we're talking about not being able to, get aroused, excited, all these type of things. And they're 20 years old. Now, how does that happen? Well, it happens because they're releasing so much that their body can't keep up with the amount of times they release. And they get addicted to releasing. And this is what happens to people. They get addicted to releasing, and now they can't continue to save that energy, and it's got to affect your muscles. I remember at times it affected me. I had muscle spasms. I had different things going on because I wasn't at full energy. Now, I didn't realize that. See, the problem is, and this is why you can never really be upset with anybody with all the false information we have in this world and this blue matrix, because, I was brainwashed for a lot of years too. And I think everybody has been pushed down the wrong path because we made the assumption of believing those people that the media gives power to. The doctors, the newspaper people, the broadcasters, and we assume those people are right. And so you have to kind of go back and say, okay, where is the mistake? Well, that was a big part of the mistake. Instead of doing the research, we took for granted that people who say, this is an authority figure, is we're using that person to become an authority figure. And so we trust that person. And because of it, we're learning a lot of wrong information. Now we're starting to learn different information about a whole host of things. One of them is your physical health. And the fact that, we're seeing, and I saw firsthand, the fact that you do not need to release 4 or 5 times a day. And in fact, this is not the most healthy thing in the world for you. In fact, you go back to olden days, it was something that was an anathema, a curse. And this is what the Bible talks about. So obviously there's reasons for people trying to propagate this whole thing over the years because they want to make money, they want to sell things, they want to get power. And I also think they want to decimate young men in the society. I think there was a plan to do that, and that's part of it. Showing porn, getting men all excited about this, like animals, and not trying to have situations where they're going to mate and use this for mating. And so we've gotten to a situation where all you got to do is turn a TV set or anything on, and you'll see all these sexual contexts and all this other kind of stuff that can drain and tempting somebody in order to get them to do something and to act a different way. So it is very possible, as we talk about things, that semen retention has a huge effect on your physical nature. I think certainly the more you're able to keep your energy, now I'm at 1,006, 7, 8 days, I can't remember what it was. My ability to weight lift, my ability to do the Kelder's Fountain of Youth exercises, all those things have gotten much, much better, more focused, more acute, and I'm doing stronger exercises, more content exercises, more constricted exercises to put the muscles in than I ever did before. And it's because I believe as you get stronger and you're not releasing energy, now you become someone like a superhuman person. And it's very rare to find people who are at that level. And again, just so many different types of female attraction. It's almost kind of ridiculous in some ways, the way I used to live life years and years ago, and now compared to the female relationships that I have now and how people do it. And I know we'll talk about this in another one, but a person, I think other people have asked me about, how do I look at this female relationships and all this kind of stuff. And yes, I look at it as flattery. Yes, it could be tempting. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I just think that, once again, the key to this whole thing, as you get into the streak longer, the less you care about releasing. And so you're not as interested then in trying to have these relationships with women. And you might be interested in one, if you're not married, of course, not like in my case. But if you're interested in a relationship, you can try to pursue that, and you have that one person. But the funny thing is that the attraction level is so much greater when I don't really care about it. And so it's a very ironic twist of life that this happens. Because when people are sensing you have this energy, they want this energy, and they're hugely attracted to you. But the problem is that you don't feel this way. One of the reasons why you have a long streak is because you don't feel this way. And so now you're retaining, and now you're driving them crazy because they don't understand how you can be like you are, because so many guys aren't. So when I'm asked in this question, a few people mentioned this, it is not easy, my friends. It's not easy. It may sound easy, but it's not easy. But the key is going to be to try to stay on your path and keep your lifestyle like it is, and realize you're going to get tempted. You're going to get temptation throughout everything you do, because the devil, the evil one, wants you to go back to the old days, the way you were. All right. So anyway, the bottom line is, my friends, keep retaining, keep on your plan. It's obviously, in my mind, going to give you a lot of physical benefits. I have almost a 2.5 pack. Trying to get a 6-pack. I mean, I have a 2.5 pack, but I never had even a 2.5 pack. So I have to say, once again, I attribute semen retention to that, because that's something that at 61 years old, closing in on 62 pretty soon, that would never happen to me in the past. So that's something that's very strange, but it's also something I'm looking forward to kind of seeing how this develops, and whether I can try to get that 6-pack of abs before I get to 70 years old. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see, and kind of go from there. And maybe I can live as long as some of those Tibet monks that I read about in Kelder's book. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, my friends, God bless you, and thank you guys for your comments. And again, thank you, Christian Thomas, for your comment on muscle spasms. And I'll try to get some more the next time I go on this thing, and we'll see if we can try to kind of get more shout outs as well. All right, my friends, 2 things to remember. 1, every day is a new day to a great warrior. And number 2, my friends, remember always and always to be